Richard Stengel, Mandela's Way, Lessons on Life, Love, and Courage. Embark on a journey through the life and lessons of Nelson Mandela in Richard Stengel's Mandela's Way, Lessons on Life, Love, and Courage. It explores Mandela's courage, self-control, pragmatism, understanding of contradictions, leadership skills, empathy, and many more valuable traits. Through a captivating narration of pivotal events and experiences, discover how Mandela became an inspiring leader and how his wisdom, resilience, and determination greatly impacted the lives of those around him, transcending race and nationality. This book's summary offers a glance at the remarkable qualities Mandela embodied as a leader and the wisdom packed within his extraordinary life journey.
Courage is a choice. Nelson Mandela wasn't born courageous. At 16, during a circumcision ceremony, he realized fear is something he must overcome. From then on, he chose to display bravery even when afraid, and that's how he became a great leader. When an engine failure threatened their lives during a flight, Mandela remained calm despite feeling terrified. He learned to cope with his fears every day, an inspiring leadership trait anyone can develop. Mandela's self-discipline. Mandela exemplifies the importance of self-discipline in leaders and how it can be developed through practice. His 27 years in prison honed his measured responses to tense situations, helping him avert civil war amidst the Chris Hani murder crisis. While some found his speeches dull, Mandela believed in providing clear, rational explanations as opposed to being an excitable rabble-rouser. Mandela's pragmatism. Mandela was a pragmatic leader who knew when to prioritize his principles and when to negotiate. While he recognized the importance of holding on to core principles, he understood that not all principles are equal and must be evaluated based on their significance. As a young man, he learned a valuable lesson when he let a minor issue overshadow a significant opportunity. This experience taught him to re-evaluate and rework his strategies according to changing conditions. While Gandhi viewed non-violence as an unshakable principle, Mandela saw it as a strategy to be abandoned when it no longer works. Mandela stuck to his core principle of racial equality and focused on its practical implementation rather than getting distracted by abstract ideas. He remained practical and pragmatic in his approach to achieve his goal of a democratic and equal society. Mandela's ability to balance his core principles with pragmatic strategies reveals his true leadership and strategic acumen. Embracing our complexity. The book explores Nelson Mandela's complex identity and leadership style, revealing that inconsistencies and nuanced perspectives are natural parts of being human. Mandela's ability to consider multiple viewpoints allowed him to excel in reconciliation, but he also recognized the importance of following evidence-based solutions. The author suggests that embracing the complexity of our motives and beliefs can lead to greater wisdom and empathy, and encourages readers to seek out the many shades of gray in between black and white extremes. In the following sections, the book delves into the leadership skills that made Mandela a powerful inspiration to others. Mandela's risky yet effective leadership. In this book, the author talks about how Mandela's leadership style was focused on leading from the front, taking initiatives, and making difficult decisions. Mandela believed that leadership was often a display, and by taking risks, he won the trust, admiration, and loyalty of his supporters. For instance, his decision to turn the once peaceful anti-apartheid movement into an armed struggle showed his willingness to take initiative. However, the riskiest decision he ever made was to begin negotiations with the apartheid government, against the will of his own party. Mandela believed that negotiation was the only way to achieve his goals, and he seized the opportunity to begin secret meetings. Additionally, Mandela showed humility and was willing to stoop down to do hard tasks. As a leader, he cleansed the chamber pot of a seriously ill prisoner, despite being the leader of the prison's biggest organization. Overall, Mandela's leadership is a great example of leading from the front and taking calculated risks for the greater good. Leading with empathy. The essence of leadership lies in empowering others to lead. Nelson Mandela learned this valuable lesson at a young age while herding cattle by putting the smartest cattle at the front of the herd and guiding them from the back. This is the metaphor he applied to his leadership style, whether leading from the front or the back, which is about truly listening to others and always working towards consensus. Mandela's leadership style was influenced by the Xhosa king, John Jintaba, who saw his leadership as a privilege and always allowed others to voice their opinions. Mandela ran his cabinet meetings in the same way, creating a space for collective decision-making. This leadership style was based on the African concept of Ubuntu, which postulates that people are made powerful by other people, emphasizing the importance of fostering collective action. Therefore, a leader who leads with empathy considers group wisdom as more significant than individual wisdom. By practicing this approach, leaders can genuinely empower others to lead while being a guiding force from behind. The power of appearance. Nelson Mandela's success as a leader was not only due to his policies but also his careful consideration of appearances. He understood the importance of making a good first impression and using symbolism to enhance the effectiveness of his policies. Mandela would decide who he wanted to be and then put on the appearance of such a person until he internalized those ideals and became a great leader. This, however, required immense discipline, and he had to hide his faults and emotions to maintain his image. The power of patience. Nelson Mandela, initially an impatient young man, learned the value of patience during his 27 years of imprisonment. He realized that social transformation takes time and calculated decisions, not impulsiveness. Impatience is often mistaken for quick thinking, but good decisions are made with a long-term perspective. Mandela's focus on creating a better future for generations to come allowed him to make wise decisions that ultimately led to the transformation of South Africa's political situation. He viewed himself as a key actor in a significant moment in history and always aimed to optimize this opportunity. He did not judge himself or others on a single action but instead believed that everyone is the sum of their actions. In the following sections, we will explore what people skills made Nelson Mandela so beloved by people from all backgrounds. Seeing the good. Despite experiencing tremendous hardship under apartheid, Nelson Mandela maintained a positive outlook on humanity, recognizing that societal pressure and ignorance can lead people to do terrible things but not make them entirely evil. This led Mandela to seek and see the good in everyone, even those who oppressed him. He fondly remembered how polite the Nazi-sympathizing president was, who wanted him executed, and engaged in sincere discussions with a racist priest on Robben Island. By looking past their abusive language, he was able to persuade them to see the nobility of the struggle for racial justice. Mandela believed that seeing the good in others was not naive, as it encouraged them to discover their own humanity and bring out their good side. Mandela's empathetic method. Mandela's experience as a boxer taught him that knowing your opponent's habits and movements is essential for defeating them. This insight also applied to Mandela's political struggle against apartheid. He recognized that mastering the language and culture of the Afrikaners, his biggest adversary, was crucial to winning their hearts. By understanding their history and cultural practices, such as rugby, Mandela bridged the gap and earned their trust. His empathetic approach not only helped win them over but also allowed him to avoid humiliating them. The value of friendly rivals. In Mandela's Way, Richard Stengel argues that having friendly rivals is essential to success. Unlike friends who are always with you or enemies who are always against you, friendly rivals challenge you while also understanding your goals. Nelson Mandela was particularly good at understanding the thoughts and feelings of his friendly rivals. He distrusted a fellow anti-apartheid leader and made him a member of his cabinet so he could keep a close eye on him. Mandela also keenly observed his other cabinet members, knowing that if they did not look him in the eye, something was amiss. Mandela did not expect total loyalty from anyone, knowing that loyalty is often self-interested. Instead, he believed that by keeping his rivals close, he could sometimes bring them under his wing. This is precisely what happened with the young militant leader of the ANC, Bantu Holomisa. Initially seeking revenge against whites, Holomysa was flattered by Mandela's compliments and ultimately became a more trustworthy associate. In summary, having friendly rivals can help one anticipate their next move and prepare for expected challenges while also creating opportunities for collaboration. The art of saying no. Nelson Mandela's ability to say no when needed without compromising his integrity is a valuable trait that many could benefit from. He knew when to stand his ground even if it meant disappointing others, and he did not deceive people just to please them. While he had a courteous and open demeanor, he was clear and firm when he needed to be, especially when his core principles were at stake. Mandela's approach to saying no is a lesson in insecurity and ambivalence. By being direct and saving emphatic no's for when they are needed, one can protect their values and ultimately save themselves trouble down the line.
Richard Stengel's Mandela's Way, Lessons on Life, Love, and Courage offers a fascinating insight into Nelson Mandela's life, reflecting his character, strength, and wisdom. The book emphasizes that courage is a choice that we can all embrace and cultivate through our self-discipline and adaptability. Central to Mandela's leadership was a strong sense of empathy, the ability to compromise, and the comprehension of the complexity of human motivations. Stengel affirms that Mandela emerged as a pragmatic leader, having a clear vision of his goals while making adjustments to the methodical approaches of achieving them. By examining his charismatic qualities and profound effect on others, Mandela's Way is an exemplary guide for unleashing the greatness within ourselves and reaching our full potential.